We know that there is one presence, one power, one life in this universe, and it is infinite. We have heard this statement so many times in a New Thought church, and yet sometimes in this big universe, or even our much smaller little planet, or even our city, we can feel insignificant. That the universe has a lot more things to focus on than me. We can find ourselves keeping our dreams and desires small, not wanting to ask for too much. But the thing is, the creative substance this universe is made of is infinite. There is no limit to what can be created. Something that I find fascinating is that physics and mathematics agree that something that is infinite doesn't have a center. Instead, every point is its center. Therefore, in this infinite universe of creative substance, we are each its center. The universe revolves around you. And this is true for all of us. The love that is the creative substance of the universe moves through all of its creations equally. We are all the center of the universe and its energies. Our being here and the lives we live make a difference to the whole. We equally live in this abundance. No matter our character, abundance is given. It's what we choose to do with it that matters. We are here to make our unique soul print on the earth, to use the gifts we were born with, the experiences we have lived through, and our inner guiding voice to manifest a ripple of creation in the universe that only we can make. And finding a sense of prosperity in this abundance, living in the culture that we live in, it can be difficult. You know, we're trained to accumulate, to be consumers. There's always something more that we need, even if we're living as an average citizen. We never seem to have enough. And it's only when we have large amounts of stuff that we're ready to share some of what we have. And it's actually in the sharing of what we have that lets us feel prosperous. Our sense of prosperity is only in context with our surroundings. We feel prosperous as we interact with the world and our communities. We all know the profound effect tithing has on our feelings of abundance. When we share what we have, we realize we have more than enough. And we get in tune with the cycle of abundance. I just recently read Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, The Serviceberry. And in it, she tells a story about an anthropologist who is visiting a tribal culture. And a hunter comes back to the village with a kill, a large animal. And the anthropologist is really curious how he's going to preserve the meat. It was much more than he could eat before it would spoil. You know, would he dry it? Would he smoke it? And he was like, store my meat? Why would I do that? And he sends out an invitation to the village, and everyone comes to this feast, and the animal is eaten. And then the anthropologist is still really it's so foreign to him, this way of doing things, that he has to ask again. And he says, you know, why did you not store it? Why did you not store this meat? And the hunter said, store my meat? I store my meat in the belly of my brother. This is where the gift economies and market economies differ. And Kimmerer goes on to say, it is in a gift economy, wealth is understood as having enough to share. And the practice for dealing with abundance is to give it away. In fact, status is determined not by how much one accumulates, but by how much one gives away. The currency in a gift economy is relationship, which is expressed as gratitude, as interdependence, and the ongoing cycles of reciprocity. A gift economy nourishes the community bonds that enhance mutual well-being. The economic unit is we rather than I. As she says, all flourishing is mutual. Gift economies are a system of exchange in which goods and services circulate without explicit expectation of that direct compensation. I give you this, you give me that. And because it's not a direct exchange, it isn't bought, it can only be received as a gift because we don't know where that support is actually going to come from. We know that reciprocity will happen. And we can even go farther out and think of karma, like you giving out this and it's going to come back. We know that we will be receiving, but we don't know exactly where it's coming from. And so what happens is it becomes a gift. These blessings that we receive, which then immediately puts us into gratitude. I'm not necessarily grateful when I go to the store and I buy something with my money and I get it. A lot of times we're not grateful, right? We're unhappy that we're spending so much money, right? But if you don't know that gift is coming, you've been part of your community, adding to the world, but you don't know where that's going to come from. So it does feel like a gift. She goes on to say, a gift economy includes a system of social and moral agreements for indirect reciprocity rather than direct exchange. So the hunter who shared the feast with you today could well anticipate that you would share from a full fish net or offer your labor in repairing a boat in the future. The prosperity of the community grows from the flow of relationships, not from the accumulation of goods. And we need these connections and the safety and comfort they bring right now more than ever. In community, we share our skills, each of us, with each other freely. I have lived in our new place for 3 years now, and I feel so abundant and blessed to be here. But it's far from my friends in Portland. And, I've shared in the past that I, really wanted to nurture women friends on the mountain. And in January, I started going to a brand new monthly gathering of women who live on Mount Hood. And those gatherings were created to support and connect with each other. And from it, so many things have happened. There's been art making nights, a book club, and those are really just an excuse to get together and have a meal and talk with each other. A lot of times we're not even covering the book, but it's just a really good time to be together. People have shared garden abundance this summer. I've come home with huge bouquets of basil and beautiful heirloom tomatoes. We put together a phone tree to support our Latina members and those who have experienced domestic violence, who are concerned for their safety and that of their children. Recently, a single mom, her car had died out in the forest after dark, and a text stream went out and someone came and gave her a jump and it was all good. On our property, we've had a women's camp out. And we have scheduled a forest bathing meditative experience where they'll walk through the forest. And an herbalist has offered to have a herbal class, and they're going to use our forest, which I love. And this coming week, we're having a family potluck where the husbands and the children are welcome. And in this group, there's older women who don't drive after dark, and they have needed rides. And someone is always happy to pick them up. And without the need for direct exchange, we can realize how much these elders give us. We crave hearing their stories. They add to our lives through the knowledge that they've experienced, the wisdom that they've gained over the years, and an inspiration of what life might be in my future. Like wow, I want to be like that when I'm that age. And it's something you cannot buy in a direct exchange market economy. Community is a basic need, and yet, it can be easy to become disconnected and isolated in this smartphone world. But if you look at the interconnectedness of nature, nothing survives alone. We're learning more about interspecies communication and support. The mycelial network in the soil is not there just to conquer space and grow mushrooms, but it brings nutrients and water to the trees surrounding it. It actually helps the whole forest communicate with itself. When one part of the forest gets attacked by an insect infestation, amazingly enough, the rest of the forest will start producing chemicals to fight off any attacks in different areas where there haven't even been the bugs. There's this network of communication that we as human beings are not even aware of. And the diversity is also essential. If you look at the stands of trees that they're growing where it's a monoculture, they're really unhealthy. And those are the ones that get infested first. Those are the ones that burn first. When you have diversity, when you have that understory, it keeps the moisture in the soil when those hot sun shines down on it. It harbors nesting birds that eat the invading insects. And the monoculture stands all die off because there's no support. Nothing survives alone. We are social creatures and need connection. And I think a lot of times we convince ourselves we aren't as good as everyone else, or we don't have anything to offer, and therefore we don't deserve to receive things, what we need. And all parts of those thoughts are incorrect. We are perfect in our imperfection. It's our struggles and living in a human body that allow us to bring our uniqueness to the world. We always have something to offer. A listening ear and focused attention are so much more valuable than a skill that you would pay a whole lot of money for. We are making our soul print. And it's our unique skill set that make community strong, bringing what only we can offer and letting others bring theirs. We are always deserving of receiving what we need. The universe is constantly bringing us what we need. And remember that you are the center of the universe. The way that it brings support is through a network of channels, through other people, through circumstances. And it doesn't make us less to have needs. If no one is willing to receive, then no one can give. And we all know how wonderful it feels to be a giver, to help someone or to share something. I'm learning to be a gracious receiver. I, really enjoy giving, and yet when someone gives something to me, I feel the need to repay them immediately. And even the term repay is coming from that market economy mindset. The belief that there needs to be a direct payment and not the gift of sharing our abundance with everyone. But in order for reciprocity to work, I have to be willing to accept gifts from someone else. That's what makes the whole network work. Jim and I recently had dinner at a friend's house, and as we were leaving, she gave me this beautiful string, the braided garlic, that she had grown the garlic herself and then braided into I think most of us have seen these. So they braid the stems of the garlic, and then you have all the bulbs of the garlic at the bottom, and you can take one off when you need it. And this is beautiful. And, in the car on the way home, I tried to think of something I could do for her to repay her. And I caught myself. And I'd settled into being a gracious receiver. And when I got home, I hung it in my kitchen. I took a photo and I sent it to her and thanked her for it and for a wonderful evening. And I let her have the joy of giving a gift that's well appreciated. Complete independence has been turned into a desirable trait. Oh, I don't need anyone. And yet, interdependence actually takes more courage. So how can you switch to feeling you were part of a community instead of being in that direct exchange model? So you can begin by noticing your network. How is the divine bringing you gifts of abundance? And as you begin to notice what is around you in your daily life, you'll be amazed at how interconnected you actually are, even if you feel isolated. And it will automatically shift you into gratitude. You will find that you live in plenitude. Plenitude is the state of being full, complete, and abundant. At its core, it signifies a condition where nothing is lacking, and everything necessary for wholeness is already present. We live in this state at all times, but we often deny it. So gratitude builds on noticing, puts us in a place to see the possibilities around us, to see the network of support and abundance. It brings up the desire for reciprocity, to give back more, but also a willingness to receive from others who want to give. We can become, as author Wallace Wattles coined, a person of increase. Giving attention to raising the vibrational level of the room you're in. Making an effort to share positive stories, not the stories we saw doom scrolling. Still, of course, sharing our personal difficulties when we need to. Sharing from a place of vulnerability. Asking for support when we need it. But our most of our interactions are not going to be this downer. We're going to be working on lifting that energy. Being a person who smiles, who opens the door for people, who just makes an effort to the people that you come in contact with. Whether that's your spouse or whether that's the person behind you in the checkout line. Help them feel uplifted by your interaction. Share your abundance and yourself, making your soul print and making the world a better place by doing so. We live in an abundant universe, and yet we live in fear and stockpile more than enough just in case the universe lets us down. We think of the world as a resource waiting to be taken and used. So shifting to the idea of a gift economy, where everything is a gift, helps us to be more appreciative, helps us to feel that sense of gratitude, to notice that connection, the connection with our community. We're not entitled, but instead are gifted these blessings. We can realize we are all part of the great web of life and creation. And as we do our part, we lift the world in ways that only we can. And we welcome the support that comes our way. This shift into community brings us connection, security, and joy. Because all flourishing is mutual. We are all one. Blessings.